In every generation, God raises up men and women whose voices carry more than just music. They carry hope, truth, and the power of the gospel. Today, we remember two such men, Gary McSpadden and Glen Payne, who answered the call of God, served faithfully, and left behind a legacy that still speaks to hearts today. Gary McSpadden, the gentleman of gospel music. Gary McSpadden's journey began on January 26, 1943, in Lubbock, Texas, born to Reverend Boyd and Helen McSpadden. As a preacher's kid, Gary's earliest memories were filled with the sounds of worship, sermons, and the heartbeat of church life. What he didn't know then was that God was preparing him for a lifetime of ministry, not only through preaching, but through song. Gary's first steps into professional gospel music came with Bob Wills and the Inspirationals, a popular Texas male quartet. From there, God opened bigger doors, leading him to sing with the legendary Statesman Quartet. In 1962, something unforgettable happened. At the National Quartet Convention, Gary married his Texas sweetheart, Carol Cornett. The ceremony was performed right on stage by Reverend Hovey Lister, a perfect start for a couple whose lives would be forever tied to gospel music and ministry. Gary's voice would soon be heard with some of the most beloved groups in gospel history: the Oak Ridge Boys, Jake Hess's All-Star Imperials, the Bill Gaither Trio, and as one of the original members of the Gaither Vocal Band. Each stage, each concert was more than a performance. It was a mission field. Songs like Jesus Lord to Me, Hallelujah Praise the Lamb, and No Other Name But Jesus weren't just melodies. They were Gary's testimony set to music. His influence extended far beyond singing. He produced albums for countless groups and later hosted television programs on TBN and FamilyNet, reaching millions. Behind all of this was Carol, his faithful, prayerful partner, whose quiet strength kept their home, their marriage, and Gary's ministry grounded. They stood together in love and in faith until Gary's homegoing on April 15, 2020. Gary's contributions to gospel music were recognized with inductions into the Texas Gospel Music Hall of Fame in 1989 and the Gospel Music Association Hall of Fame in 1998, 1999, and 2000. But more than awards, his true legacy is the lives touched by the message he carried. Glen Payne, the voice of the cathedrals. Glen Weldon Payne was born on October 20th, 1926, near Rockwall, Texas, to cotton farmers Elmer and Vela Payne. His roots were humble, but God had placed in him a voice that would one day become one of the most recognized in Southern gospel music. In 1944, Glen began his singing career with the Stamps-Baxter Quartet. Over the years, he sang with various groups, but in 1964, alongside George Younce, he co-founded the Cathedral Quartet. For over 35 years, Glen stood at the center of the Cathedral Quartet's harmonies, leading with that rich, unmistakable tone. The group gave the world unforgettable songs like Step Into the Water, Boundless Love, and He Made a Change. But while Glen was on the road, sharing the gospel through music, his wife Finn faithfully kept the home fires burning. She managed the household, cared for their children, and supported his calling with unwavering love. Glen was more than a singer. He was a leader in the gospel music community, serving on the board of directors for the National Quartet Convention and the Southern Gospel Music Association. In 1998, he was enshrined in the SGMA Hall of Fame at Dollywood in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. When Glen passed away on October 15, 1999, Van carried his legacy forward for 19 more years until her own passing on April 4, 2019. She continued to mentor their children and keep Glen's influence alive, a testament to their shared devotion to the Lord. Two couples, one faithful mission. Gary and Carol McSpadden, Glen and Van Payne. Two couples from different paths, yet united by the same calling, to serve God with all they had. Their lives remind us that ministry is never a one-person effort. It's a partnership fueled by faith, love, and obedience to God's voice. In their music, we hear the joy of the Lord. In their marriages, we see the faithfulness of God. And in their legacies, we are reminded that a life lived for Christ is never wasted. May we, like Gary and Glenn, answer the call, and may we, like Carol and Van, be steadfast encouragers in the work God has given to those we love. The songs have ended, but the message continues. And perhaps that's the greatest legacy of all, to live so faithfully that even after the last note is sung, your life still points people to Jesus.